and gentlemen, welcome to my Payback pay-per-view. I've been very frustrated for the last couple of hours because my camera's memory card was not working. I had a good video and it died. I had to format the card and lose the video, and there was no way to retrieve it. So, breathe. Sorry about that. How was this pay-per-view? Look below, you see the title, A Status Quo. We got the status quo. Pretty much all the major storylines stayed exactly as they were. And that was not a good thing all the way. I'm going to start with the things I really liked about the pay-per-view. The kickoff show. I had to do that laugh. It makes me feel so good. El Tortillo and Hornswoggle. Hair versus mask match. I can say this about 3MB and Los Matadores. They have had their own shots at becoming interesting, and the WWE has basically dropped the ball with them. And I'm sure you're going to say, dude, these are jobbers. Yes, but jobbers could still have a good run. And you could say to a certain point 3MB has been light, like when they were the Union Jacks, baby. And when it comes to Los Matadores, who used to be Primo Epico, they had their moment. But since they're not on the main show, they've lost a lot of steam. But with Hornswoggle and El Tortillo, if I'm even pronouncing the guy's name right, I always mispronounce his name. But still, I'm not insulting anyone who's a little person. I even dated a girl who was really, could be considered a little person. She was 4'7" or 4'6". She was not very tall. I never thought of her as a little person, but you could say she was. There's nothing wrong with little people. But the title of the wrestling they do has always been with them, and many people think it's a stigma, many people won't. It'll just be recognized. But midget wrestling, we don't get that from WWE. Like I said before, have this once every 5 or 6 months on a pay-per-view. But in this case, it could be every 2 or 3 months. Let it be on the main show every 5 or 6 months. Let it be the kickoff show every 2 or 3 months. This was awesome. I loved it. The crowd loved seeing the high spots. They loved seeing Hornswoggle completely dizzy like this and going around, and he's going to go, you're going to jump on, you're going to slam you, and boom. Misses 100% clean. In the end, he loses the match and loses his hair. I truly hope he went totally bald, not the crown look that comes about there. We don't know what it's going to be like. They cut off on that to go to Kofi Kingston. And I will be getting to that in a minute with Kofi, which I understand the reason why. But let's just hope he's totally bald. I think he'll look stupid with that crown look. Now, the next match I enjoyed that was really good. Big E versus Rusev. Now, the way they structured the show, not the show, this part of the card. USA versus USSR, which most people still care about. Rusev, who is really getting over as a heel, he destroys everybody, and everyone loves that. Lana, gorgeous woman. She walks down that aisle back and forth, showing that beautiful body. Talks very well, the piss to everybody. It's so epic, it makes me botch. She talks so well, talking about Vladimir Putin that nobody likes. And I wonder how he feels if he knows his own image is being used in the storyline. He may not know, he may not care, or he may be flattered. But either way, it's a great gimmick. And in the end, the match was very physical. I felt this was one of the most physical matches in the entire night. It wasn't long, it didn't need to be. It wasn't a very potent match in the sense that you had a huge stare down. You had a huge amount of force. In other words, one pushing the other one away. But they had enough of it, and including that spear that went outside the ring with Biggie Langston, that it got my attention. In the end, Rusev, mad as hell, screaming at Lana, tell me to crush him. And she says, Rusev, crush. He crushes the shit out of a Biggie Langston. Or Big E. And I wish to say, it's nice to see that they're using just one name. Rusev, Cesaro, Biggie. Well, of course, Biggie's 2 syllables, but still, it's very short. And we don't get that often from WWE. So I am commending them for the name changes for most of the people. I enjoyed that match. It made me feel very good. Now, this match I really didn't like, but at the end it wasn't bad. Paige versus Alicia Fox. Because of what it followed, and I will be getting to that soon, I think the crowd wasn't 100% happy about it. You know, I'm talking about the match before. So it kind of affected the match afterward. So having Paige, who is the new Divas champion, having to follow that wasn't exactly good. But I gotta say this about Paige and Alicia Fox. The way they built this, it sounded like Alicia Fox should have been the one to win here, and she should have. But she didn't. Paige retained it, and Alicia Fox flipped out at the end, screaming silence, and then running down the ring, which I did enjoy to a point. But here's the problem. If Alicia Fox had won that match, it would have been much better for Paige, because she would have had a reason to fight even harder to get over more with the crowd. Because Paige doesn't have a real storyline. She doesn't have an interest. This is her first feud. It would have been better to perpetuate this a little bit more to give her more experience. But now there's no reason to. Alicia Fox is done. Now, of course, she can still flip out on Raw, facing a Paige again, or someone else will face Paige. I myself feel that there's only a few people left for Paige to really face that would be interesting. Of course, Natalya, my Naomi, would be a very good person to face, but they would have to build up to it to the next pay-per-view, because she deserves it after getting the eye whack from Oksana. I'm still angry. They never said anything about her. They never said anything about her. I think she deserved what she get by not being seen at all. I'm sorry, but I had to say it like that. But you get my point. In the end, Alicia Fox has nothing left for Paige. Unless they do something more traumatic or dramatic, I don't see it. But I still enjoyed Alicia Fox and her physicality. Let's get to the parts I really didn't care about. 2 matches. The IC and US Championship. Sheamus and Cesaro, and RVD and Bad News Barrett. Let's do the first one, which was the opening match. Sheamus and Cesaro. The problem I see with, well, there were 2 problems I saw. Severe problems from this match. One, both guys had the wrong character. Sheamus should have been the heel. Cesaro should be the face. Let's be honest. Cesaro the crowd wants to pop for him so badly, they're coming on themselves. They're jizzing. They're doing everything they can to want to cheer for him, but unfortunately they can't because Cesaro's a heel. Sheamus is a face and they want him to be heel. He was better as a heel. He's too bored as a face. He's too boring as a face. They want to boo him. And they had a very physical match, which was not the key here. Sorry for the noise. But the point is, the crowd wants them to change positions. And we're not getting it. Paul Heyman is the other half. Paulie, and I believe the Slug Daddy said it best. If you saw the Off the Road Show Central Slug Daddy's video, is Paul Heyman helping anybody? In this respect with Cesaro, no. Look, Paul Heyman didn't help Curtis Axel. Paul Heyman didn't help Ryback. Paul Heyman barely helped CM Punk, even though they were actual friends to a point. When it comes to Cesaro, Cesaro is a face. And the WWE decided to put him with a heel manager who people now don't want to boo him because he's a good heel manager. They want to boo him because they're trying to state the fact that he's ramming down our throats. I, Paul Heyman, the manager of Brock Lesnar, who beat The Undertaker's the undefeated streak at WrestleMania 30. And he keeps repeating it and repeating, and the crowd is angry. They're not angry because he's a great heel. They're angry because they're sick of him. And that's the other half why Cesaro is not getting over. I'm actually happy Cesaro did not get the US Championship, because simply if he did, he would be where Sheamus is, and that's with mid-card hell. Now, the next match, RVD versus Bad News Barrett. Bad News Barrett is in mid-card hell himself, but he managed to get over enough now that I believe, and this is just me, you guys can tell me below, that he is ready to transition to a face with this gimmick. If he transitioned from, I got some bad news for you, to the good guy saying, to all you bad guys, I got some bad news, he may get over with it. The crowd is at the point now that they want to pop for him. In this situation, he's a heel dealing with a face. It would have been better if he was a face dealing with a face. It was a very physical match like most of the matches of the night. It wasn't a bad match, but in the end, Bad News Barrett must turn face. I really believe the gimmick will work for him now, but we're not going to get that. And that's what we got. Now, let's see here. Bo Dallas with Kofi Kingston. Two things that was wrong with this, and one thing that was right. One, having Kane come down there was the wisest thing to do, but it shows how bad it is with Kane that he's totally random. And that's the problem in that entire segment. Kane is random. He's just a waste right now. And that's sad. And that's what I think is one of the bad things about this. Second, why have we not had a Kofi Kingston versus Booker T feud? You got two guys, when you see just before they start Payback, Kofi Kingston talking with Booker T has some damn good chemistry. Oh my goodness. You guys can tell me if it was bullshit or not, but I saw that if they let these two have at it, they would actually have some good chemistry talking. They could actually have some good chemistry outside the ring, fighting one another. And they would have some good chemistry in the ring, fighting one another. That is a lost opportunity right there, ladies and gentlemen. I would love to see a Booker T facing a Kofi Kingston. Let Booker T be King Booger if you have to do it, which is bullshit. But it wasn't that bad. Let Kofi Kingston be who he is. But in the end, I really believe that you would actually get over with this. But they're not going to do it. And that's the second thing that's a waste. The one thing that was good, after Kofi was laid out, Kofi, don't worry. You'll recover and be better than ever. The only thing you have to do is Bo, leave. That was a good moment. Because in the end, even though it was cheesy as hell, which it was, the crowd was mixed about it. And that's what you need right now for people to understand. He's not a face. He's a heel. He's a very sarcastic heel. And eventually the crowd, instead of cheering the hell out of him, will go mixed and then go total heat. And that's what I'm hoping for with Bo Dallas. His gimmick should work as long as it stays mixed right now and slowly becomes heelish. If it stays mixed more than, I think, about 4 or 5 months, then it didn't work. That's what I feel about it. Let me get to this now. The two matches I hated. Cena versus, you know what? Yeah, why not? I got some other stuff to say. Cena versus Bray Wyatt in the Last Man Standing match with the Usos included and the other parts of the Wyatt included. I have to say I did like how Luke worked. Particularly, I think it was Jimmy who got suplexed off the top bunk. That looked a little nasty. But it was good. And this is the problem. Bray Wyatt looked really good, showing how tough he is. Luke Harper looked good. Eric Rowan wasn't that bad. The Usos got prominent time, which I like to see, even though they were extras, and they need to be, because they're not going to let anyone go beyond Cena. Those sections were good. But John Cena winning because he pins a Bray Wyatt inside a container? When did he last do something like that? 2010, dealing with Bad News Barrett, known as Wade Barrett, having a huge amount of chairs fall on top of him, and then the count, and it was over. It would have been better if Bray Wyatt had just stayed on the ground and lost. That pissed the shit out of me. One, that was done. And two, Bray Wyatt did not win, and that was the worst thing that's done. And I'm going to say this right now. I like Bray Wyatt. I think he's the most unique character we've had since The Undertaker. And that's saying a lot. He gives me a feeling of what an Undertaker began as. Something entirely different, charismatic, so unique. But now, he's going down. This is the end. He has not won a signature pay-per-view. He got a questionable pay-per-view win. And then now he lost. On top of that, in another pay-per-view. And on top of that, when was the last time you saw him win on Raw really clean? If John Cena did not fuck him over. Didn't happen. He's ending up like a Ryback now. You'll see it slowly go down. And as charismatic as he is, and he is charismatic, I love his promo segments. I love his look. I love how he works in the ring. But in the end, he's done. Unless they break them off immediately now, they're done. And I bet you when Raw comes around, he will still be dealing with John Cena. And that's just the end for him. Now I'm going to the second thing I hated. Evolution versus The Shield. Now I'm going to say this honestly. It was a damn good match. But I didn't believe not 1 second The Shield was going to lose. And in the end, they did a Super Cena and they won. Yes, Roman Reigns was very well spotlighted. And he was the one that was spotlighted the most out of everyone. Dean Ambrose still looked good. Seth Rollins looked good. But in the end, it was Roman Reigns they really wanted to promote. But Evolution is supposed to be the most best heelish faction that existed. And they got their asses handed to them how many times now? I lost count. I didn't believe they were going to lose. I'm talking about The Shield. And in the end, they didn't lose. And now I have no interest in continuing to see their feud. Break these suckers apart. And break either three things. Break Evolution up. And let them go their separate ways and just end it. And let The Shield do whatever the hell they want. Break up The Shield. And let them go off on their own and move on from that. Or what they're going to do is continue this. And it's going to be bullshit. And I'm not going to give a fuck about it. And I'm going to hate both sides eventually. Even though I love them all. Well, Randy Orton, I'm really... I'm ready. Sorry about that. My battery died. Look. You get my point with Evolution and The Shield. Oh, I'm sorry about my cat. She's giving me a headache now. Okay, the last thing I'm going to talk about is Brie Bella, Stephanie McMahon, and Daniel Bryan. That, I think it was the 1 hour mark that was done. Can't remember clearly. And I can say this. It was actually a very good segment. Daniel Bryan spoke well. Brie Bella spoke well. Stephanie, who was in, I believe, a turquoise top and bottom, a nice turquoise dress, showed all her assets that everyone loves. I have to say it was quite nice. But I'll give it to you like this. I believe this entire situation is not about Daniel Bryan. It is about Stephanie having a feud with Brie Bella. Now, I had stated this before, the way things were going. Very early on, it looked like Stephanie and Brie may have a feud. And at this moment, supposedly, Brie has quit. Smacks the hell out of Stephanie. In the ring, going yes with her husband. And Stephanie walks out. So it's a possibility several things are going to happen. One, Stephanie may say to Brie that she can't just quit because there's a clause in her contract. Two, Stephanie may cause havoc for Nikki Bella and will force Brie Bella to come back. Three, Brie isn't fired. Brie did not quit. Something else happens where she does not lose anything and then she still does a match. We don't know because it's not Raw yet. This is before Raw. Thank goodness for that. It's not like during Raw. I'm going to get angry. Stupid. Ugh, memory card made me angry. But I'm looking forward to seeing a Stephanie, Brie Bella, well, Brie Daniels. No, what is it? Actually, Brie Bryan. BB, Brie Bryan. If you're going to make it clear like that. Feud. Maybe by... I would love it to be built up. It would actually be interesting. But I doubt it's going to go past SummerSlam. They'll probably have the really big match by then. So how do I feel about this show? Average, but the matches were quite good. The status quo was kept. And is that right? Not really. When it comes to Evolution and Bray Wyatt, they should have won. Now it makes no damn sense why the feud would continue. That's just to keep them looking good. And I'm talking about The Shield and John Cena, which makes no sense. So I hope you enjoyed this Zane's View. Please give me a comment below and give me an idea if I need to do anything other, maybe another match of the week. I hope to get a debate of the week done soon. And give me a thumbs up so people can see me. Peace out!